Welcome to Flash News Now. Here are today's top 12 stories. U.S., Iran agree on Lebanon ceasefire and lifting sanctions on Iranian oil, but much remains. Both Tehran and Washington hailed the negotiations that took place in Switzerland on June 22 to create a roadmap to close down the war in the Middle East. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said it laid a good foundation for a deal to end the war. The parties agreed to establish mechanisms to open the Strait of Hormuz, but it is unclear who will control it. Iran says no new commitments on nuclear sites after Vance says inspectors to be invited back. Iran's foreign ministry says it made no new commitments on nuclear inspections after talks in Switzerland. Palestinian children targeted in genocide, war crimes in Gaza, UN inquiry. UN Commission of Inquiry says Israel's deliberate targeting of Palestinian children in Gaza resulted in genocide. Why is Israel being accused of meddling in Colombia presidential election? President Gustavo Petro claims digital manipulation affected the results, but Attorney General dismisses allegations. UN Commission of Inquiry says Israel committing genocide in Gaza by deliberately targeting children. Israel rejects the new report by the three-member expert panel, calling it a libelous sham. Iran's President Pezeshkian lands in Pakistan after U.S. deal. What Israeli and Lebanese officials are saying before Washington talks. Iran has made a ceasefire in Lebanon a key condition in its ongoing negotiations with the U.S. Iran set to return to mainstream oil market as U.S. temporarily waives sanctions. As 60 days of peace negotiations between the U.S. and Iran continue, Tehran appears to have won significant concessions from Washington. Chief among those is the waiving of sanctions on Iranian oil exports. U.S. sanctions have been in place for decades, cutting Iran off from mainstream global oil markets and forcing it to sell its oil to China at discount rates. The U.S. says the other side of the deal is that Iran will allow international inspectors access to its nuclear program, Tehran though says. U.S. waives Iran oil sanctions as part of 60-day peace negotiations. The United States temporarily waived sanctions on Iranian oil exports on Monday, opening the door for Tehran to return to global energy markets as negotiations between the two countries continue. In this edition, we look at the impact this has had on oil prices, while also examining major job cuts at Oracle linked to AI-driven restructuring and a sharp sell-off in technology stocks that's rippled from Wall Street to Asian and European markets. Iran says technical talks with U.S. in Switzerland conclude successfully. Iran's top negotiator Mohammad Ghalibaf also says an agreement reached with the U.S. to release $12 billion in frozen assets. Israel's targeting of Palestinian children establishes genocidal intent in Gaza, UN probe says. Israeli authorities and security forces deliberately targeted and killed children in what has become a key factor in its genocidal intent to destroy the larger Palestinian group in Gaza, a UN inquiry revealed Tuesday. Israel has slammed the report as defamatory and a libelous sham. Iran War Day 116, U.S. eases Iran sanctions, Israel kills 2 in Lebanon. U.S. eases oil sanctions for 60 days after Iran agrees to allow international nuclear inspections. That was your Flash News Now bulletin. Subscribe for more.